Don't miss Bell's Black Friday sale. Open 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thanksgiving night. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. Save big on doorbusters throughout the store. Up to 70% off. Like 70% off sterling silver jewelry. 60% off holiday decor. Up to 60% off Real Legends for ladies and men. $19.99 boots. And kitchen electrics starting at $4.99. Get your coupon at bellsflorida.com and take an extra $10, $20, or $30 off your purchase. Plus, the first 100 guests in store can stack and save even more. Bell's Black Friday sale. Don't miss it.
Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /Shedding the Bitch, or share your stories on our website at sheddingthebitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Boas know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910.
Good day, everyone. How are you? Yes, indeed, it's Bernadette Boas. Apologize for that little technical glitch, but it is Thanksgiving week, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. And I hope you are ramped up and ready for a blessed celebration, a blessed week, wherever you might be celebrating and wherever you might be traveling to and from. Just be safe out there. I actually made my way down yesterday, down to Florida. There's this big, huge community called the Villages, and one of my sisters has a home here for the winter. She's a snowbird now, and so I just decided. I've had a pretty busy and rough 6 weeks. All good, by the way. All good. Very, very. Very grateful for all the work. It's just chaotic when you're putting on and producing events and workshops and content and, rallying, pitch presenters and judges and all that kind of good stuff. So my last one was this past Saturday, just a couple days ago, and found myself kind of collapsing that night, trying to get a good long night's sleep, which I did, and then just decided that I would jump in the car with my little pup, sleeping right beside me, and come down and spend the week here in it's actually North Florida. So wherever you might be going to celebrate and chow out, I hope you just have a safe and very blessed celebration. And it is leading us into the holiday season. So this is kind of a good time, and actually for a disappointment or two, which I'll talk about in a minute, it's actually a good time that disappointment might come around because then you can use the opportunity to kind of sit down and reflect on what it is that you really are grateful for. So, for example, and it's been one or two or three times this year. Today we were going to be having a guest. And for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been reaching out. They were following up with me to kind of confirm her appearance, and then everything just fell quiet. And I was kind of heads down, and like I mentioned, and a number of things going on as well. But had a very difficult time trying to reach her media person or her the last couple of days. So I sensed that we weren't going to be having a guest today. So why I bring that up is because when I think of gratitude as well, I'm thinking about the fact that I am grateful that I am not the woman I was 8, 10, 15, 25 years ago. Because quite honestly, something like that would just send me over the top. I would get all stressed. I would get angry. I would just start, kind of spewing venom all over the place. And I wasn't very, very good at all just being flexible and nimble and kind of not casual, because I think anytime you have a business like mine and you're offering up business opportunities like I do to my guests, that's something to be taken seriously and professionally. But at the same time, you just do have to learn to, and I definitely had to learn to just kind of, okay, that happens. There's a cancellation. There's a last minute. There's somebody standing you up. There's somebody who is just totally avoiding or ignoring or just not taking it very seriously themselves. But I'm just grateful that I've learned to kind of not take on that junk that someone else is spewing and not let it affect me, which in turn could affect you as my listeners, my followers, my fans, my friends, my community. So I started thinking about, as I was sensing that it would be you and I on this episode today, that, you know what, that's okay. This is a good time, and going into the season where things just are going to break loose and things are going to get crazy and everyone's going to have high expectations, and a lot of us are going to get disappointed in and when those expectations aren't met the way we, dreamt them up in our mind. At the same time, a lot of the family dynamic stresses people out. The rush of the season stresses people out. The closing out of a year and the start of a new year stresses people out. And so we're just going to, on this particular episode, as we go into Thanksgiving, we're just going to take a deep breath and just relax and not let it affect us and let it roll off our shoulders and let it just slip away. Let us shed the bitches that might get us in a wad, that might get us in a tizzy, that might get us to go inward and get depressed or sad or hurt, whatever the case might be. Let's agree individually and then as a community to not allow that to happen. Because all I have to say is, and I say it often, this life is going really, really fast. My brother-in-law, who I'm visiting with, mentioned something to me, and I said, I can't believe it's, been a couple years already. And he said, it's been like 4 or 5. I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, it's been 4 or 5 years. So as the days tick on, all of a sudden everything becomes kind of mushed together. And what you think happened yesterday actually happened a year ago. What happened a year ago happened 10 years ago. So let's just all, be okay with the fact that things aren't going to go the way we want them to go, and people aren't going to meet our expectations. And we're not going to get what we want. And there are going to be some bumpy times, but there's going to be some joyful times as well. And let's just use this opportunity to just simply be. How about that? So we're just going to be on this program, and we're going to talk gratitude, and we're going to talk what we each could be doing to help ourselves, to not just be grateful. That's one thing, but to really understand what gratitude is and feel it and instill it and just kind of trust in it. Because I think too often we say we're grateful, and yet at the same time, as fast as the words come off of our lips, the next thing that comes up, and if it's agitating or aggravating or whatever the case might be, that gratitude just went like a puff of smoke. So let's just really commit to ourselves, because it's in our best interest as individuals and as a community to really, really appreciate and to take in what gratitude is all about. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm not going to get upset. Now, I will tell you what we're also going to walk through during the program, because I can't ignore, and so you're going to hear some confessions from me as well. Because as you all know, I adapted my book into a film script called Confessions of a Corporate Bitch. And actually, this came to me just seconds ago before we got on the program. And it was simply because I finally pulled my script, not out of the drawer, but so to speak. And I been using it to pitch back out in LA. I mentioned last week I was in LA the week before. And then also one of the events that I was working on and doing a workshop, Pitch Like a Pro, past Friday. The next day, I then chose to be the student, so to speak, and I participated in a pitch fest where, such as, companies like MGM were there, Harpo Films was there, Supremacy was there, Pearl Street Studios was there. That's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's company. There was a number of companies at this event, and I played attendee and made sure that I focused on my own stuff. So I realized I called the script "Confessions of a Corporate Bitch" because I really do think, in order for an individual like myself, in order for an individual to change, to transform, to shift, it's all about confessing. It's all about purging. It's all about self-awareness. And I'm not that woo-woo person that a lot of personal transformational coaches and speakers are. So I like words that are, that hit me in the gut. So confession is much more powerful to me than to just say I need to be self-aware. I might use that with you because some of you like the punchiness, some of you like the soft strokes. But for myself, I need something a little bit like more of a slap across the face, quite honestly. And therefore, confessions. So I'm going to even acknowledge some of those throughout the program when it comes to gratitude, because I believe that when you acknowledge your weaknesses, when you acknowledge things that you might not be honest with yourself about, when you acknowledge or confess what's been staring at you in the face, you have an opportunity to see kind of where you do need to make those shifts, those changes. You do need to make those adjustments. It doesn't mean that you have to give up on whatever it is that you were doing or who you are. It just means that maybe once you are honest with yourself, you confess to yourself, even to other people, or you just simply acknowledge, you then have an opportunity to make a decision. Do I continue that way or I want to go this way? So let me give you, for instance, before I get too far off a tangent, and then I'll make sure I pull ourselves back in. So where confessions are concerned, not only because it's my script, but when this last cancellation, stand up, avoid, whatever you want to call it, that the guest that we promote and we advertise doesn't show up on the program, I have to kind of say, okay, this has happened, 2, 3, maybe even 4 times this year. Now, granted, it's a weekly show, so that gives an opportunity for, 3 weeks out of every month, because the 4th is Ask Bernadette, so I don't have a guest. So there's about, 12 times 3. There's about 36 guests that should be scheduled. And when you're getting 3 or 4 canceled, that's getting up there. I mean, and I agree, things happen. But, my brother-in-law actually called me out on it and said, and actually Deborah, and everybody knows Deborah of Parker House Virtual Services, she's even brought it up, questioning, like, why would these people be canceling? Why would they not be showing up? Why would they stand you up? And I kind of would, respond just because they're asking. So I would respond, but I never really sat with it and thought about it. This year's been, and I'm not making excuses, but we, our lives get busy and we answer the question and we move on. No, this time, I'm not moving on. I'm confessing that I need to confess, and I need to be grateful for acknowledging and not even acknowledging, for finally seeing it, that I need to reconsider kind of the approach that I'm taking to the show. Not that I'm doing away with it. Remember, you don't have to give up on something. I'm just going to reconsider it because I absolutely love bringing you valuable, viable, transformative conversations. But maybe there's a different way of doing it. Maybe there's just a way that would streamline things, and or maybe some people aren't finding it powerful enough for them. Though I would say they should make that decision, at the time that their media person reaches out to me or I reach out to them. But, okay, let's just take a look and see what we might want to do to make the Shedding the Bitch community, that much richer And so I will be spending. I'm grateful for kind of having this happen today as I go into not only Thanksgiving, where we should be continuing to be grateful for, but also the November-December period where we do a lot of talking here in the Shedding the Bitch community about planning and goal setting and assessing and looking at what worked, what didn't work. So the November-December time period is all focused on those type of conversations. And I practice what I preach, at least I try. So that's what I'll be doing. So the first thing I want to leave you with before we take a quick break, and I left my water in the other room, so I'll just grab that. But, you know, your rich question for today's show is not only what are you grateful for, but I want you to acknowledge for yourself, confess to yourself whether or not you're grateful or are you truly down deep inside, you know, what is it that you're truly grateful for? If someone says and goes around the table, what are you grateful for? Oh, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. Are you? You know, is it, you know, that important to you? Do you love it that much? Are you so grateful for it that much? Or are you kind of taking it for granted? So just think about that as we work our way through this conversation today. And as you go through your Thanksgiving and your Christmas holiday, a time when, you know, family and a roof over our heads and food on the table are things we should all be on our knees, however you might pray or thank, and truly be grateful. And take the time to recognize and to acknowledge that you truly, truly are. And if those aren't the things that really kind of give you pause and excitement and gratitude, then what is it that you're truly grateful for? Think about that, and we'll be right back, and we'll get into this conversation. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. We are inspiring individuals around the globe to discover, confront, and shed their bitches of fear, insecurity, and negativity so they can create the riches in their career, business, and life they deserve. Be sure to check out Bernadette's book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, available on Amazon and sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsors, North Georgia Tax Solutions, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate-sized clients. Go to ngtaxsolutions.com to learn more. And Parker House Virtual Services, who provides virtual assistance and social media support for small to medium-sized businesses. Email Deborah Parker at deborahparker.va@gmail.com for more information. To become a sponsor or advertiser on our program, email us at mediarelations@sheddingthebitch.com. Shedding the Bitch Radio airs every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. Be sure to go to blogtalkradio.com/Shedding the Bitch Radio and follow the program for all of the updates and announcements of our guests and show topics. Now let's return to Bernadette and Shedding the Bitch Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, as we lead into the Thanksgiving holiday and then overall the Christmas or whatever celebration you might be having between now and the end of the year, we're talking gratitude. And we're talking and wanting to take time to not only talk about it, but really to think about it and to go deep and truly understand what it is that you're grateful for. Now, it's interesting. Something caught me when I looked up, because I wanted to make sure that I, truly understood myself what gratitude really is. And I love this very simple Wikipedia definition. Actually, it's a paragraph long, but the very first few words hit me and really made me start to think about, there is a difference between just a surface gratitude where we, are grateful for this and we're grateful for that, but yet, whether or not we really are grounded in that gratitude or we're just kind of taking it for granted, there's a big difference between it. Wikipedia explanation, I won't call it necessarily a definition, but an explanation for gratitude is the quality of being thankful. And they go on to say readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. And it's also a feeling of appreciation felt by and or similar positive response shown by the recipient of kindness. I don't necessarily believe you have to get to receive gratitude. You could have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, given from another person. It could be something that you have, given yourself and that you're grateful for. But the words that really caught me was the quality of being thankful. And that's what made me even start considering what I've always, said or put down in a gratitude journal. Those of you who may use a gratitude journal, the question is, do you simply write, or do you really give thoughtful and quality thought to what you're thankful or grateful for? It's not a duty to be grateful. It's not a requirement. And therefore, kind of, if you gave it really serious thought, what would you truly say you're grateful for? So I love that, the quality of being thankful. So I would just, suggest to you and have you consider that, this week as you go into Thanksgiving, and maybe you are one of those group of friends or families or communities that when you come together, you do go around a table to share what you're grateful for, maybe from this year, maybe from your life. And you have a couple of days to really think about that and give it some quality consideration, because it may not be just those surface things that you're grateful for. There could be just little elements. For instance, I am grateful for being stood up on my radio program today, because it did cause pause for me to consider, if there's changes or something I need to be doing differently, or I want to be doing differently, or maybe I didn't assess the prospective radio guest appropriately. And this could be something that, he or she does on a regular basis. I'm protecting kind of, having to mention who it was. But, but there could be a lot of things to be looked at. And so I am grateful with a lot of quality, gratitude that it's caused me to actually scribble out like 2 or 3 pages in my journal of things that I would and will consider doing differently going forward. So how can you not be grateful for that? But I would have you thinking about what are you grateful for, obviously. And if you question how to measure that, consider what has been transformative in your life this year, let's say. What has really brought quality in your life, quality love, quality joy, quality happiness, maybe contentment, maybe peace, maybe stability or security. What's really been brought into your world in the past 11 months that kind of digs down and it goes deeper than your taking care of yourself from a food, roof, and family perspective. Now, I'm not saying don't be grateful for those things, not at all. Just go down a little bit deeper to consider what are those other small little things. If I were to think about it right now, I was grateful and am grateful to the 2 or 3 entertainment companies that recognized the quality of work I had done recently over the past year and a half, 2 years, and decided to engage me to work with them in the past, I would say like 3 or 4 months. It's sending me in a new direction, one that I didn't even think about this time last year. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm grateful for some renters that came and rented my home, who not only, brought me that security and stability from renting my home perspective, but also they just were wonderful people. And they just brought just new friendship into my life that I would never have expected, because they're renters, right? Renters come and go, but this particular couple were just truly, truly kind and generous and friendly people, and it just kind of made me really smile and appreciate not only were they taking great care of my home, but at the same time, they brought a friendship that I didn't have 6 months ago. So really consider not only what you're grateful for, but what is that what, whom, or where that you might be grateful for. I know a friend of mine moved away from Atlanta, Georgia, and she's now living out west, and she's been out there now, I guess, a few months. And she and I were having a conversation, and she was mentioning she took Atlanta for granted because where she is very vastly different, and she's going through a major, kind of adjustment, especially as you get older. If you're in your 50s, all of a sudden you're having to make new friends, and it's not as easy when you're 50 as it is when you're in your 20s or your 30s. So she all of a sudden really said that she sat and thought about kind of what she took for granted and what she didn't really appreciate while she was in Atlanta. And now she's certainly feeling it. And she's going to do things differently because, out west is going to be their long-term home now. So they'll be, doing something differently about how she really kind of appreciates where she's living, where she is right now in the moment. And it happens to be not in Atlanta. So what are you potentially taking for granted, or what are you potentially kind of just expecting is in your life, is in your world, is in your, surroundings, your community, and what might you actually be truly, truly grateful for? And one way you could be looking at that as well is, what if you didn't have it? What if there was a person or a place or a thing that wasn't in your life? You can look at it that way. What kind of change or adjustment or shift would that cause? How would that make your life look like right now if you didn't have it? And you could look at, there's some things that I could certainly say that if they weren't in my life, I wouldn't miss them. And then there's other things that, oh my God, it just takes my breath away and makes me panic, the thought of not having them. And therefore, do you really take time to appreciate and be grateful for those things? Because those are the things, and I'm not talking those things you are expected to live with, and yet, you might say, well, I can actually live without them. So even family, even your job. The number one thing, I was having a conversation with someone just a few weeks ago about, I was mentoring him on his resume. And he, kept on saying, making the comment that he needs this job. Like, I'm just grateful for having an opportunity to interview this job. And, I'm just, jobs haven't come around. So, and that kind of conversation, that kind of talk, especially self-talk, that's not really healthy for anybody, especially oneself. Yes, when jobs are hard to find and there is a job, I've learned over my lifetime that not all money is good money, not all jobs are good jobs, not all men are good men, not all friends are good friends, not all family members are good family members. Yes, if all of those were beautiful, wonderful, kind, giving, things in our lives, that'd be fabulous, but that's not reality. So we have to be careful that we're also not just being grateful for something that we really should be, kind of amping up and elevating our expectations, our self-value, our self-worth. Not any job's the job that you should have or could have or deserve to have. Not every, money that can be made. Yes, it'll pay the bills, but you also could be a very, very, very miserable person while you're earning that paycheck. So really consider, what are those things, those people, those places that you can't live without. They would drain or take away the quality of your life, of your world, of your person. And those things, maybe if you haven't recently, recognized your gratitude toward them, maybe those are things that you want to think about in this period of Thanksgiving. Let's see, what we talked about that. What else would I be looking at? I had mentioned that, I was grateful in regards, and I confessed in regards to what happened today with the show. But I'll be honest with you, what I'm truly grateful for is not even that. That's even what I would call that surface, that thing that you just take for granted type of thing. I would say what that really speaks to, the situation with not having a guest and therefore having to come up with a subject, and not only that, that's not even the point either. The point being, and I have to really think about, and I'm grateful for that it's given me pause to consider, why did I get this last one, let alone the 2 or 3 others, canceling on me at the last minute, standing me up, or not even acknowledging after confirming that they'd be on the program. So I am grateful for that. But what it really speaks to, for me, is it speaks to the fact that I'm really grateful that I've learned to be more, I think I mentioned it, flexible and nimble and positive, and not allow it to get me negative or insecure or desperate or even, kind of agitated and stressed and curt or unkind. Right now I wouldn't even think about being unkind. Am I not, do I feel a little, not disrespected? Do I feel a little bit not taken for granted? What's the word? I'm going to come up with it. But I can tell you that that's far, far better and easier to kind of blow off and not let it, really affect me than, during the days when I would just have taken this very personally, very desperately. I would have taken it very negatively. And trust me when I would say venom would be spewing all over the place. So looking at your situation also is really think about what are those things in your world you're grateful for, but what are those positive impacts they've had on your life to where that's the reason you're grateful, not for the actual materialistic thing, whether that be a person or a thing, but actually just the emotional, mental, spiritual shift or transformation or appreciation that it brings to your being is something that you could also be considering as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue this conversation and a little bit more as we get our heads around getting into a joyous season of kindness and gratitude for not only Thanksgiving but into the Christmas and New Year holiday. And we are going to talk about kindness when we get back. So we'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. We are inspiring individuals around the globe to discover, confront, and shed their bitches of fear, insecurity, and negativity so they can create the riches in their career, business, and life they deserve. Be sure to check out Bernadette's book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, available on Amazon and sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsors, North Georgia Tax Solutions, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate-sized clients. Go to ngtaxsolutions.com to learn more. And Parker House Virtual Services, who provides virtual assistance and social media support for small to medium-sized businesses. Email Deborah Parker at deborahparker.va@gmail.com for more information. To become a sponsor or advertiser on our program, email us at mediarelations@sheddingthebitch.com. Shedding the Bitch Radio airs every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. Be sure to go to blogtalkradio.com/Shedding the Bitch Radio and follow the program for all of the updates and announcements of our guests and show topics. Now let's return to Bernadette and Shedding the Bitch Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. As we go into this week's Turkey Fest, we are also using it as an opportunity to really just do what we should be doing, and that is giving thanks, and that is, really considering what we're grateful for. And I would say in that giving thanks, if this is a great opportunity, that if there is someone, you need to be thanking, or there's something you should be doing to express what you're grateful or thankful for, this certainly is also that time of year that you could be taking care of that. Because I don't know about you, but as much as I truly do, someone when they do something well, I am as guilty as the next person when it comes to the fact that life can just, kind of go so fast that I just get, I have a team or an individual working with me or whatever the case might be. And we get done and we kind of move on, and then something else comes up and we get done, or someone offers up a helping hand and we get done, and life moves on. And I can say and confess, that my accountant and friend is one of those individuals. I've been working with her for a good number of years, and she just was helping me with something the past few months to finally get rectified, because we've had a hell of a time trying to figure it all out and untangle the mess. But I kind of moved on. And then all of a sudden I found myself, getting slapped across the face from myself. And I said to myself, oh, my God, I really need to thank her and her team. And, but it's not just an email or a phone call or, a lunch out. So it just so happened one of my mentorees that I've been mentoring for a couple decades, or at least a decade and a half, his son was collecting money through you buying popcorn or candy or something from his I think it's his Boy Scouts. And all of a sudden, so he sends me the brochure of the things that I could buy as a way of donating to the son's club. And I thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do. She'll never expect this to happen, because in 8 years I had not sent something kind of by surprise. And so I did. I ordered a bunch of stuff and sent it over to her. And, I get this crazy voicemail that I saved because it's just so funny. Her gratitude, her thanks in return when she received it. So, if there is that opportunity to just take pause and make sure that the people in your life really, recognize and understand and hear, your thanks and your gratitude towards them, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so I was saying about, Ellen's show. At the end of every day of Ellen's show, she says, be kind to one another. And I love when she says it, because, again, today's conversation seems to be about taking pause. Again, it provides an opportunity. When she says that, I all of a sudden, and I don't know about you, but I'll all of a sudden just stop. And I'll think about that, and I'll be, even if it's just a flash in a pan, but it all of a sudden creates a shift for me that it allows me to think about, okay, so, was I kind this morning, or at that very moment, I'm going to be kind, and really kind of keep that within ourselves. My brother-in-law was telling me this morning, he has a couple of Matthew Kelly books. If you're familiar with Matthew Kelly, he's a Catholic consultant. I don't know what to call him. But he, studies Catholicism, but he's a prolific writer in regards to Catholicism, in regards to the Catholic Church, in regards to how the Mass and how the Bible, should come together and really serve it. And they're very uplifting books, very inspiring books, very grace-filled books. And so my brother and I noticed that he had a couple of Matthew Kelly's books on his cocktail table, and I have a couple myself at home. And so we were talking about it, and he said to me, he says, I've read both of these books about 4 or 5 times. He says, because I don't retain well. He says, so it just, kind of helps me to try to take it in as much as possible. And I don't know that he necessarily needs to be thinking about that he's not retaining it. I think it takes us, especially in a world right now. We've all just gone through the elections, and we're not going to talk politics. Don't worry about it. But I think over the last, 3 months leading up to the midterm elections, there's enough things that could get you not, angry and bitter and just hostile and unkind. So I think when we have so many walls and barriers set up and we're on such the defensive all the time, and with all due respect to 99.9% of us, it's much easier for us to find fault in things than to find the beauty in things. It's much easier for us to see the warts of someone than it is to see the beauty marks. And I think why that is simply because if we're not secure and positive and have self-worth for ourselves, and we find ourselves with warts as opposed to those beauty marks, well, we feel better when other people have warts, even those that don't and they have beauty marks. So it's much easier to say, no, they have warts as opposed to that they have beauty marks. Because then that, if they acknowledge they have beauty marks, it makes, them feel smaller or uglier. So it's much easier to go to the negative than it is to the positive. And I think when Ellen makes that comment at the end of each of her shows, it gives me at least an opportunity to just take pause and to consider, where my head and heart is at the time and, where I want it to be as I then, continue my day after her show and I go out into the world. But, through all this politics the last several months, I found myself just, my kind heart turning dark. And I, really was not liking it at all. And I kind of felt myself getting heavy in all kinds of ways. Regardless of the fact that I've lost 35 pounds, I just felt myself getting heavy and decided to do something about that myself and start to kind of just, stop looking at the media, stop watching television, turning off any feeds that were coming in on my phone or my laptop regarding it, because it just got, and I'm in Georgia, right? It just got ugly, and I'm sure wherever you are in the country, you heard about it. Between Georgia and Florida, we've had it up to here. And so I think, kindness is just something, too, that this time of year, it goes along with gratitude. But I know a lot of people who claim to be grateful for things that are just ugly people. They have those warts. I'm not talking physical. They just have those warts. They have those bitches, as we call it here in the Shedding the Bitch community. And so I started scribbling as I was, 5 minutes before getting on the program, recognizing that it would be you and I today talking. And I just thought to myself, we just also have to be kind. We have to, even if it is faking it until we make it, even if we, don't feel like smiling or we are agitated or depressed or, kind of lonely, whatever it is, we're pained in some way, shape, or form. Fake it until you make it, put on a mask, and work at being kind. We used to always be kind. As children, when we're born, we're not born with anything but kindness, with a smile, with, a lot of hope and aspirations for a beautiful, beautiful life and world. And, along the way, it just gets tainted. So I think regardless if you're 20 or if you're 75, there's still opportunities to make sure the rest of our days are more joyous, are more colorful, are more kind, and therefore grateful. Because then you'll have true things to be grateful for, not those things that you just, kind of take for granted or you just expect or, you're just, they're parts of surviving. But you truly have things that you can can be on your knees to whomever you pray or chant or meditate to, and be grateful for. So that would be just the other thing, and I'm actually going to leave you with that in regards to kindness. I won't steal Ellen's term because I could be sued for copyright, because I'm sure she has it copywritten. But it's just something to think about. Quoting Ellen, be kind to one another. And actually, I'm going to flip it on its head a little bit. Focus on being kind to you first during this holiday season. Be kind to you first, because if you are first kind to you, and maybe that's my saying, which will complement hers, be kind to you, and then she can come along and say, be kind to one another. Be kind to you, because if you're kind to you first, just like that air mask in an airplane, and I think I even mentioned this last week or a couple weeks ago here on the show, put the mask on yourself first before helping others. Be kind to yourself first, because that'll give you a bright heart, a colorful heart, a smile, a glitter in the eye, and a step, a gan in your step, or a step in your gant. And therefore, you'll be kind to others. So be kind to you this holiday season. And I'll look forward to talking to you right back here next Tuesday at noon Eastern Time for another episode of Shedding the Bitch. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Deborah, to you and your family, I am grateful to you. Thank you so much for all of the assistance and support and help that you bring not only to myself, but our Shedding the Bitch community. So thank you very much.
Right back at you, Bernadette.
And
happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. And to everybody in the Shedding the Bitch community, happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.
Don't miss Bell's Black Friday sale. Open 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thanksgiving night. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. Save big on doorbusters throughout the store. Up to 70% off. Like 70% off sterling silver jewelry. 60% off holiday decor. Up to 60% off Real Legends for ladies and men. $19.99 boots. And kitchen electrics starting at $4.99. Get your coupon at bellsflorida.com and take an extra $10, $20, or $30 off your purchase. Plus, the first 100 guests in store can stack and save even more. Bell's Black Friday sale. Don't miss it. Don't miss Bell's Black Friday sale. Open 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thanksgiving night. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. Save big on doorbusters throughout the store. Up to 70% off. Like 70% off sterling silver jewelry. 60% off holiday decor. Up to 60% off Real Legends for ladies and men. $19.99 boots. And kitchen electrics starting at $4.99. Get your coupon at bellsflorida.com and take an extra $10, $20, or $30 off your purchase. Plus, the first 100 guests in store can stack and save even more. Bell's Black Friday sale. Don't miss it.